Okay, hello. Hope you're well. So, before this moment, I was on live stream and I got off because there was like a bunch of noise. There was a lot of stuff going on. And I don't know, I feel like I've been really good about regulating and like making sure that like I stay grounded in my energy. It was a really nice live stream. It was very flowing. You know, there was a lot of comments, a lot of questions, or whatever. And I don't know. The thing I want to talk about is something that might be triggering for some people to hear about, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of people need to kind of be triggered. You know what I mean? Sorry about the lighting. I am headed towards the graveyard, the cemetery, so bear with me. So I think it's pretty obvious, not obvious, that's not the right word. It's pretty common knowledge that a majority of people, most people, if not everybody, has narcissistic tendencies to some degree. You know what I mean? Like to some extent, we all have that trait. But the issue arises, I feel like when we, how do I say this? So like when we aren't able to understand when the ego is operating and how it could be harmful to us and also the people around us, you know what I mean? Also, hopefully the wind is not an issue. I'm praying to the gods so that it's not an issue, but recently I felt like I had to break up with somebody. I had to distance myself from somebody who was being very destructive in my life. And on the surface it might not look like that because they were giving me money, they were helping me out in different ways, but like the emotional maturity just wasn't there, and they did not want to, like, they would admit it sometimes in passing if it could move the conversation forward, but then there were other times where I would point it out in order to like have a productive conversation, and then they would like completely double down and be like, well, so are you, and like I'm not that bad, and all this excuses, and just proving to me that this person was just immature on so many levels, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I guess one of the things that I've had to learn about these sorts of people is that it's really difficult to reason with them. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's very difficult because they just like pleasure. They just want to feel good. You know what I mean? At the bottom line, they just want to feel good about themselves. And like, obviously, most people do. That's like, who wants to feel bad, right? But then, I mean, I say that, but then there are people who enjoy being in a bad mood. Believe it or not, I don't understand how that works. I mean, I understand how it works. I've been in that mood. I've been in a sort of energy where it was like I was sad and I was like okay with being sad, you know what I mean? But to put that on other people, I think that's really like gross, you know? But yeah, it's nearly impossible to really reason with these sorts of people because they see any sort of confrontation as an attack. They see you pointing out their flaws, pointing out their shortcomings as an attack. And I don't know, rightfully so, because there are people in the world who will use your shortcomings as a sort of attack, you know? But like, I think there's a big difference between somebody purposely trying to attack you and then like bringing something up to you and you feeling attacked. You know what I mean? I think there's a huge difference. And I don't know, I feel like this person will eventually watch this video because I have a feeling that they watch all my videos, which is one of the reasons why I was just like so annoyed with this person, because he would watch my videos but then he wouldn't like them or he wouldn't engage with them, you know? And it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I mean, I should have known when I learned that he was a Scorpio. His birthday was yesterday. As I'm recording, it is November 11th, or 19th, excuse me, November 19th. His birthday was yesterday. I did tell him happy birthday, but I made it very clear I was not trying to reconnect. I did not want anything from him. I was just telling him happy birthday. Because I feel like he has it in his mind that I'm going to come back for whatever reason. But I'm so done with this person. I really am. Like, I don't care how much money he gives me. I don't care about all that. Like, he's not good for my mental health. And like, I've talked about this in another video, but like the biggest thing that really did it for me was the day that we broke up, where I was trying to have a conversation with him. I was trying to talk to him, you know, because it was clear to me that something was off, and I was trying to have a conversation, and I was doing my best. Like, you see how I'm talking right now? I was not talking like this. Well, maybe I was, but I was trying my best to, like, stay at a calm, like, let's talk rationally, not in a faux pas sort of way, but just in a trying to regulate myself, trying not to get out of character, you know what I mean? And it just seemed like the more peace that I was bringing to the situation, the more that he was getting upset. You know what I mean? And it's like, if you're not able to have a peaceful conversation with me, if you're not able to have a mature conversation with me, we shouldn't be talking. And like, I don't know, because I read for people all the time. Also, sorry about the lighting. You don't need to see how beautiful I am 24/7. It's okay. You know, it's okay. But I read for people all the time. Once again, I had a live stream this morning. I was reading for a lot of people, and I think I'm at a place now where I'm pretty confident in my abilities, at least when it comes to other people. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to other people and their stuff, I'm really good. I'm really good at pointing things out, and, you know, and I'd like to believe that about myself too. But when I was dealing with this person, he would gaslight me so many times. You know, he would, like, minimize my shit. And, like, it's my fault for continuing to be in the relationship, because I at some point I clocked it, and I was like, this is what's going on. I shouldn't be here. This is not endgame for me. But I don't know. The truth of it is that I was using him for his resources, you know, and maybe it's Stockholm Syndrome, but I did convince myself, and I will still convince myself, that I do love him, that I did care about him, you know what I mean? Like, but like, he made it so difficult, because it's like, you don't even care for yourself. You don't want to exercise, you don't want to, like, journal, you don't want to do anything to uplift yourself. You want to just have somebody else make it for you. Like, I don't know. It was a really big mind fuck, a really big emotional fuck. Like, another thing that I clocked was that, like, when I had made it very clear that I was working on emotional regulation, he did not like that. And I should have clocked that right then and there and been like, fuck you, I'm not talking to you anymore. Because what the fuck you talking about? I need this. Like, what? Like, I'm telling you that I'm working on emotional regulation. I'm working on just being in peace and not being so affected by emotions. And that is a problem for you? You have issues. You have issues. I'm sorry. Because it's like, and like, I don't know, the thing about it is, if you truly care about somebody, like, you should be willing to make adjustments to your behavior if you know that your behavior hurts them. And so in my head, it's like, you don't actually care about me, because if you actually cared, you would make changes to your own routine, to your own behavior, so that I don't continuously get hurt. But you obviously don't care, and you probably get off on it. Like, it's ridiculous. It's crazy, because in their head, in his head, he wants to believe that he's the good guy, that he's like the savior, but it's like, you're not, because in a way you're creating these situations. Like, he would say stuff like, I remember one time we got into a temporary break, and he said something along the lines of, like, well, how do I say it? He said something along the lines of, like, you'll be back when you run out of money. And the co-creator in me, the manifester in me, was like, what the fuck kind of thing is that to wish for somebody? Like, this person was manipulative as fuck. They did not like the truth if it did not benefit them. And it's just like, I don't know why, I know why I stayed, but it's just like ridiculous to think about. You know what I mean? Which I could emphasize this. Like, if you care about somebody, you're going to make sure that you show up for them. Like, if you genuinely love somebody and want the best for them, you're going to show up for them. You know what I mean? Even if it sometimes makes you uncomfortable. And that's why I don't have friends, because I've made a lot of friends. I've had a lot of acquaintances that I really enjoyed, you know? And I put a lot of myself into relationships. I show up and I show out, you know what I mean? And if somebody else is not willing to go as far as I am, then there's no reason for us to be friends. Point blank, period. There's no reason for us to date. There's no reason for us to do anything. Because I'm not going to exert all of my energy for you to just kind of not put anything back into the connection. You know what I mean? I made a little jokey joke on TikTok the other day of, like, it's really funny to me how people will, like, do everything in their power to try to keep up a facade, to try to maintain their mask. instead of just adjusting so that they can like actually live in alignment with the person that they're portraying, you know, because then it's like, do you even have a soul? Do you even have genuine feelings? Because how do you think that makes any more sense? Like, just be who you say you are and you'll have less complications. Because when you lie, like, I don't know, and like at the bottom line of it, like, this person was very destructive, and we all have our own shit. We all, like, I'm the first to admit that I have shit that I have to take care of and that I have to tend to, but like, he wouldn't necessarily do that. Like, he would do it if it benefited the moment, you know, but like in the long term, it was just like he could not fathom the idea of him needing to work on certain things, you know what I mean? Like, because he would point out his flaws. He would say, you know, I'm a codependent, but then it was like no work to be done about that. Really? Like, I don't know. Once again, I really do have a lot of love in general, but I also have a lot of love for myself and the work that I do. And I kept telling him, like, if you can't get on my team, if you can't be a coworker, not a coworker, if you can't be a collaborator, then this isn't gonna work. And he kept trying to frame it as though like it's really fucking petty. Like, he kept trying to frame it as though like I wasn't doing enough for the relationship or whatever the fuck. And it's like, bitch, you know that that's not the case. You know that's not true. You just don't want to do what you need to do to make it work for me. You don't want to be the person that I need you to be, and that's okay. But that's why it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, you think just because you give me money, like, you don't give me any words of affirmation, you don't give me, like, and then to think that the reason why he doesn't do that is because I don't give him sex is ridiculous. Because, like, what the fuck? That's abusive. Like, no matter how you split it, if you withhold something from your partner or a person that you know that they need or they feel like they need, that's abusive. And he probably would, if I said that to him, he'd probably spin it and be like, well, I feel like I need sex and you're not giving me that. And it's like, really, dude, you're how old and you really feel like sex is a need? You need to grow up. You need to mature. Because what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, it's really quite true. Like, if you are working on yourself, if you are genuinely trying to be the best version of yourself, you will find yourself surrounded by adults. Like, if you observe them, they're literally children. Like, they literally are children with no, what's the word? I almost said cognitive. That's not the word. With no capacity to self-reflect. You know what I mean? It's just like, just no thoughts, just kind of waiting for the next dopamine hit. You know what I mean? And it's no judgment when I say this. I don't mean to sound harsh or cruel or anything like that. But like, can you imagine what that's like to deal with when you're like the maturest person in every room that you go into? Like, there's people twice your age who don't know how to have a mature conversation, and then they try to make it your fault. They try to make it your problem because they don't want to be mature. That's why I don't have friends. That's why I don't have many people that I call my friends. Shout out to the one girl on TikTok though who's been calling me her bestie. You know, like, it is quite isolating to be so mature, because, and then sometimes you'll meet mature people who like maybe mature on an emotional level, but maybe on a spiritual level they aren't very mature. They still think in terms of like tit for tat and like being petty and stuff like that, and it's just like, you know. But yeah, he probably thinks that I'm gonna like try to go back to him. I really don't want to. I don't, and I refuse to, because no, you're not good to me. You're very toxic, and you don't want to do anything about it. You don't want to exercise. You don't want to. You know what I mean. You don't want to change your mindset. That's not gonna work. Like, because then once again, the way that he would frame this would be that I'm too picky. And it's like, yeah, bitch, I should be. The fuck? I have very sacred energy. Excuse me. Like, and for anybody watching who also feels similarly, who knows that they have sacred energy, like, please stop settling for people in situations that don't give you respect. Like, we could talk about needing to pay bills or whatever the fuck, but at the end of the day, your energy is sacred, and it doesn't matter all that other shit. Like, if you genuinely believe in spirituality and believe in a higher power, I don't give a fuck about your circumstances. You need to be in situations where you are given respect, because that's who you are. You are a respectful person who is very kind, very loving. You don't need to be around people who have apathy, who don't give a fuck about other people. You're like, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? I know sometimes they're very attractive. These types of people can be very sexy, very alluring. But like, and do you not think that there's more important things to think about, to worry about? You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, once again, I really hope that the wind is not an issue, because it is kind of being annoying. Thank the gods, I guess, for the nice breeze. It's pretty nice, but for the sake of this video, it's not very nice, I don't think. But yeah, I don't know, like, I really just wanted to talk about narcissism, I guess. I don't know, because I watch a lot of content about it. Before this moment, I was listening to a video about narcissism. And it's really crazy. Some people philosophize that, like, to some degree, we need narcissists so that we can have something to grow through, you know what I mean? An immovable object that we can grow through, you know, because a lot of times these people are immovable. They don't want to grow, they don't want to change, they don't want to think differently. And so you have to navigate around them. Otherwise, they will fucking drain you of everything you got, bro. You know? And I don't know, obviously I'm not diagnosing anybody, but I think it's pretty clear that this person was a narcissist. You know what I mean? Like, they made almost everything about them. And then that was also another thing. When I was on the phone with them, I was trying so hard to connect with him and try to get him to, like, be open. And, like, that just made him more upset, it feels like, you know? Because, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, to think how much energy I was putting into making sure that I was calm, making sure that I was patient. You know what I mean? And anytime I blew up, anytime I was not able to hold that, he would use that against me and be like, well, you're always yelling at me. And it's like, bro, I'm yelling at you because you don't fucking listen to reason. You don't fucking listen to sound wisdom. Like, you're a fucking dumbass. That is why I yell at you, and I care about you and I love you, but you're fucking stupid. That is why I yell. I've said things like that to him, and I've regretted it afterwards. But it's just like, I was never going to be satisfied with this person. Like, never. I was never. Like, I could have given him everything that he was asking for, which was really not that much, but it was definitely something that was out of my personal comfort zone. Like, and that's another thing. Like, somebody who genuinely cares about you, like, is going to be able to respect your boundaries. They might not always like it, but they will respect it. You know what I mean? And if somebody doesn't have the autonomy to respect your boundaries, that's another issue altogether, and you don't need to be so intimate with a person like that. Like, you know, like, I don't know, there was so many red flags that I caught early on. And it's not like I ignored them. I don't ignore red flags. I notice them, and then I think to myself that I can work with it. That was my problem. I wasn't ignoring the red flags. I just thought that I could work around them, you know? It's not funny. It's really not funny at all. But yeah, bottom line, please be careful with these sorts of people. They are dangerous as frick, you know? And, like, all the love, just love, you know what I mean? But to some degree, you can't love these people. You can't, because if you don't give them what they want, a lot of them throw tantrums and they don't know how to act properly. They don't know how to act with consistent respect unless they're getting what they want. You know what I mean? And that's a hard pill to swallow, because most likely that's not who you are. You're able to take a no. It might be disappointing, but you're able to walk away from a situation. You know what I mean? Like, you're not crazy like these people. So I don't know who needs to hear this. I don't know who needs this jumbled message. But I hope you know God loves you. I hope you know whatever you're going through is temporary. And miracles do happen all the fucking time, man. You do. The only caveat is that you have to believe in them and you have to align yourself with them. But they do happen. And thank you for tuning in. Have a nice one. Bye.